And we're back for another engine cleaning tutorial, engine cleaning how-to, instructional video, however you want to call it. But again, it's a minivan. It's, it hasn't been cleaned since it's, I guess since it's been made really, since this is still a 2015, 2016 minivan. So we're gonna clean the engine. A quick interruption before we get the video started. I just created an auto detailing training series. Now this video was actually shot far before I came up with this idea, but I said, you know what, I'll go ahead and create that bonus. So if you want to get a lot of bonuses, check the description box down below. You'll get the 6-step guide to engine cleaning. So literally this entire video condensed into a 3-page guide on how to clean the engine. To follow that up, you get the 13-point checklist. So if you're just doing this as a business, if you're doing this for personal use, this is gonna make sure you go through each point and you hit everything that you need to do to get a proper to do a proper engine cleaning. Next, you get all the tools and products. So all the links, alternatives to the tools and products that I use. All of that is in the bonus. And then lastly, if you do want to start your own detailing business, if you want to offer engine cleaning services, then I give you a quick startup guide on how much you should charge, how long it should take, how to talk to the customer, and how to what to say when you're pricing it, how to structure your pricing, all of that in the bonus down below. Download it and use it. All right, let's take a quick before look at the engine bay. Now it may seem like really dirty to some of you, but this is actually pretty standard. This is just a couple years of dirt, layers of dirt, filth, gunk, nothing exploded in here. So this is probably your more of a common type of engine bay detail that you'll run into. There will be some that are just astronomically terrible, but for the most part, at least in my experience, you'll run into the ones that just it's been a couple years since it hasn't been cleaned. So as far as tools, I'll be using this long fender brush to get the larger surface areas of the engine bay. So it's really good to get like the above the hood, especially if you're short like I am, you can't reach everything. So having a long stem brush like that is very easy to reach those longer to reach areas. And again, it's more so for the larger real estate areas. So I'm not gonna go with the detailed areas. Next step is the easy detail brush. This is the larger brush that comes with the set. Now this is good to get into the real intricate areas. The bristles flex very well, so it can get to a lot of tight areas across the entire engine bay. Lastly, as far as brushes go, this is the lug nut brush. Now this is going to be used for the emblem, for the much tighter areas, the more specific areas we need to attack. This is the brush we're going to use. Now this one isn't absolutely necessary, but it does help out a lot, is the blaster sidekick. Now once you're done, you'll be able to blow off all the standing water to make sure there's no drippage after you're done with the detail. So, not absolutely necessary, but having forced air does help a lot. Lastly, you'll need a water hose to rinse down the engine bay. Now I've done details where I didn't have a water hose and I used water in spray bottle, so that's also an option. For starters, you're just gonna blow all the dirt, gunk, leaves off, nothing too difficult. If you don't have this type of blower, use your hands, no biggie. You just want to get the top layer, the loose items off of the vehicle to make the cleaning much simpler in a little bit. Now that we've checked the engine, we can go ahead and get started on the hood. Here I'm using maguire's D101 all-purpose cleaner diluted 10:1, and I'm going to saturate the entire hood because I'm about to start cleaning with the large brush to cover the larger areas of the hood. I'm not going for none of the nuts or bolts or anything too specific. I just want to get a majority of the hood, which is why I'm using the bigger brush here. Now I'm not going to rinse anything off. I'm going to start spraying the APC back on the more specific areas I'm going to touch up with the brush to get the the real tight areas. Now keep in mind I'm working in a cool weather right now, so I'm not worried about the sun drying anything up. If it was really hot, I'd work section by section. Next, I'm going to move down to the cowl hood area. Again, you always want to work from the top, working down so you don't work over yourself. Now I'm going to go ahead and rinse everything down from the top. Now again, because the weather's not beaming hot, I can do this. If it was a lot hotter, I wouldn't be working in this fashion. Like I wouldn't be spraying everything down if it was just beaming hot. But because it's not that bad, then I can spray everything down and I have enough time to work the brush across the entire engine bay. I have enough time to really take a look and have time to work all the product in. Now the next thing you want to do after you get the larger areas on the engine bay is spray it down and then follow up with the smaller, tighter brush, just as the same concept as above with the hood, except now we're moving down to the actual so to speak, the nuts and bolts of things. And this is where different brushes really do come in hand. Here I'm using the easy detail brush, and this brush will save you a lot of time and headaches because the bristles are so flexible. It will get into a lot of areas. So the rest of the detail, you're simply gonna just pay attention, look at the engine bay in different perspectives to make sure you're not missing anything, because looking at it from the left it looks clean, looking at it from the right may look dirty. So I'm done with the engine side. I'll rinse it down, and then I'll just keep on repeating the same process. I'm gonna reapply the APC. I'm gonna keep on agitating, rinse it down, apply again, and that's just the same process you're gonna follow over and over. The key thing here is patience and keeping your eyes out for the real detailed parts, because again, it may seem clean, you may think it's done, but once you rinse it off or once you look at it from a different perspective, you may be getting a completely different result. So use those various brushes to get into as many cracks and seams that you can possibly get into. Rinse it down, reapply with the APC, re-agitate. That's going to be the entire process. Now that you're done cleaning, we're going to use some forced air, if you have compressed air, to blow out all the standing water. Now, one thing I didn't mention is when you dry this off, you may see that there's some areas are still dirty and the water was just covering it. So keep that in mind. Once you're done blowing the engine bay, you'll still want to follow up with a dry towel to just make sure you buff off all the residual water. So again, you're going to take your towel and work around the engine bay, see what areas you can wipe down. Now here's just an example of using how useful the blower is and just drying larger areas. So it definitely comes in hand. And now going back to some of the engine bay might be dirty again. This is me here just touching up a few places. It's very typical for that to happen, where you miss something, you didn't see it when the water was covering it, so you just need to touch it up again. Now this is the last towel I'm going to use, the orange towel. It's completely dry, and it's just to make sure everything has been dried, there's no streaks, and the engine is looking good. Now to take the look of the engine even further, we're going to use Maguire's hyper dressing with an applicator pad, and we're going to evenly dress the engine bay. Now if you had an aerosol can, you can spray it on into the more difficult areas, but I myself just have hyper dressing, so I'm going to work everything into the engine bay. And as you can tell, there are some hard to reach areas due to the fact that the applicator pad or a towel can't get into every single last tight area. So having an aerosol can does help out a lot. And we're almost done. All you need to do now is follow up that dressing with another dry towel just to make sure there's no high spots. You evenly spread out the dressing. So just follow it up with a dry towel and wipe down the interior engine bay to make sure everything is nice and evenly spread. And as you can tell by the before and after, it's quite a significant difference. You can get these same results. It's not that much work, just patience and attention to detail, and you can get these amazing results as well. Okay, so that wraps up the video. That's how you properly clean an engine bay. Now, if you want to get all the bonuses again, the 6-step guide to engine cleaning, the 13-point checklist, the tools and products and all the links, and a quick startup guide on offering engine cleaning services, then check the description box down below. Other than that, as always, leave your comments, thoughts, opinions down below in the comment section. Like this video, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.